Hi, it's Paul from globaltradingsoftware.com. I want to answer a question from one of our potential customers regarding SPY. So I'm going to read a little bit of his email. I'm not going to mention his name. So part of his email, he says, for instance, I'm currently in a long position in SPY, which I entered at $440, but I should have entered at closer to 420 if my process to calculate my entry would have been quicker. So then he goes on to say that he's comfortable with using harmonic patterns, but is there a simpler strategy or software that can help him get those earlier entries? So I'm going to answer it with NinjaTrader. So currently he doesn't use NinjaTrader, but I wanted to show the power of the logic with a platform like NinjaTrader and the software that we provide. So I'm going to be using SPY on the 195 minute. Okay. 195 minutes is actually breaking the trading day exactly into two. Okay, so we have exactly 2 candles per trading day. This smooths out SPY a little bit for you, especially if you go swing. Obviously, this guy's swing trading SPY gets for a little bit better entries as well, rather than just using the daily or the 240s. To be honest, a little bit when you've got something like SPY, which opens and closes every day, has a high and a low, you really need to stay away from 240. 195s or derivatives of the 195s would be that sort of time frame. So what we're going to do is look at the trade since the summer, and then we're going to go on to what potentially could happen next. So, and then we'll talk about the trade is currently in. So first of all, we're just going into the beginning of September 2023, and we get a buy signal here. So this is our SlingShot, okay? But we also see these multicolored support and resistance zones. They're from our Guardian zones, and they're totally automated and probably save you about 30 minutes a day from framing your charts. So we can see the dark purple here. That's a weekly zone, okay? The grey is a daily, and the 195 is in the yellow. But what we have up here is a confluence of zones of all 3 time frames here. So this is a very strong resistance zone. So when we get a buy signal here, there's not enough fresh air to trade into, so we ignore the signal, okay? Conversely, now when we come down and we get a type 3 sell, so this is a trend failure signal, there was a lot of fresh air down to the next weekly zone, so we take that short, as we can see here, got entered at this point. We've got a trailing stop that runs here, which is 21 EMA. That prints automatically. One of the things you really need to do is when we get multiple tests of this weekly zone is take your profit at that point. We then pull back into one of our pullback zones and we get another type 1 sell, but at this point, although the trade was successful, I would not have traded that because there's not enough fresh air down to that net support with those weekly and daily zone confluences there. Now this is the trade that he's currently in. So 440 is around about this level where my cursor is here. So this is the entry at this point. So with the SlingShot, we can see we get what we call a pullback zone here, but we get that trend failure. We get a type 3 buy at this point in that first 195 candle for that particular day, okay? So now we get an entry then in the next candle at $429, okay? So we got in slightly earlier. 420 was a little bit ambitious. Maybe 427 breaking out of there would have been extremely aggressive, but this is an earlier entry. We can see now we've got a lot of fresh air up to that next big confluence zone, okay? Now, we're going to go on to what happens next, but at the moment, currently still in this trade with that trailing stop. This yellow dotted line here is part of the software. That denotes what's called a false breakout stochastic. So that denotes a really strong bullish trend. So the stochastic tries to break out of that overbought zone and just keeps failing and keeps crossing over and failing. This gives us a really strong support. So at this moment in time, that helped us, although we went sideways for a while, eventually break through that resistance. Now we're at the next resistance zone. And we've got, our trailing stop, if you like, now is above all this protection. So if you wanted to be ultra conservative, the trailing stop would still be below all of this sort of support, this confluence of support zones. If you wanted to be following the plan, is to lock in more profit. 462 would be your trailing stop. So there's some scenarios that's going to happen right now. Now, I have not got a crystal ball, but this is going on normal market behavior and some of the things that could happen around these confluence zones. So this zone that we're in currently is a confluence of daily. You can just see the grey at the top there and the 195, and then we've got this massive confluence zone. So we're going to go yellow first. This is a potential, if we can break out through there into fresh air, all of a sudden it'll be like a roller coaster. It'll find enough room and it'll come back down. There'll be some profit taking, and it'll most likely come back down to test this previous resistance of support. At this point, we may get another pullback zone with the SlingShot software, in which case we can add to the position, or if we get taken out with the trading stop, we can go again. Another scenario is this resistance does actually hold and we pull back, we take out the trailing stop. We do find this support in the really strong confluence zone here, at this point here. Again, the SlingShot most likely will print a pullback zone and type 1 or a type 2 buy, and then we'd look to go there. This is why it's called SlingShot, really. So we're looking for those pullbacks and then SlingShot into the direction of the main trend. Or a third scenario is we actually we just run out of juice. It pulls back, it goes through this confluence zone here, basically then reversing that trend. We then pull back up against that and then find resistance at that confluence zone. Again, these zones are totally automatic but very, very accurate. Then we get a pullback zone like we get these red ones here, and we look for a sell signal going all the way down into there. So that's 3 potential most likely scenarios, all of which will help us with the SlingShot, will help us look for further trades or additions to our current position. But in answer to the email from a potential customer, the SlingShot is extremely complex logic, but NinjaTrader does all the work for you. The software does all the work for you and prints those buys and sells, those pullback zones and those target zones. One of the big things here is that we print those trading stops as well, and it allows you to get into those trades a little bit earlier. So imagine institutional traders get that steam train moving away from the station. What you want to do is get on it when it gets enough momentum to pull away from the station. And not up the next station. So this SlingShot allows you to get on that first platform just as it's starting to move away with this type 3 buy here. So this is a really good trend reversal at this point, and it's a great trade that this guy's in, fantastic trade, but you could have gone in earlier using the SlingShot. And again, having those that chart framed, that operational landscape identified with those multiple time frame zones from the Guardian zone is extremely important. And moving forward with the SlingShot, we have potential trades moving forward, whether it's a short, long, or in addition to that current trade. So again, 195 on the SPY, very, very important to me. Good swing trading time frame. Hopefully that helps. Check out the links below for all of the Guardian zones and the SlingShot.